Pero, नहीं, हमें रुक रहा
Just think that that's all, is it?
Hello? Excuse me? Can you take a photo? Sorry. Let him finish his. Sorry, no, carry on.
Do you want to come down first of all as well?
Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Time to take photos.
It's about the day, no? Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Many thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers. God. Thank you. Yeah, huh? Look at this.
Sorry?
What is it special about the blended?
It's just a name. It's not necessarily anything any rarer. A lot of them will have, names like that where it suggests there's something out of the ordinary about it. It's just another batch, basically. Flavour, yeah, that is a malt whiskey liqueur, so it's a single malt, and it's a whiskey with honey, sugar, spices added. That's all it is. So it's really sweet, yeah. It adds it much smoother than a single malt.
I can't believe how many whiskies they've got.
Okay, so I'll take you through the 5 steps of how to get to know your dram. So come and gather round. And the first one is to hold your whiskey up to the light and have a look at the colour. And that will tell you how it's been matured. So if your whiskey is quite pale yellow, pale gold, like this one here, then that suggests it's been matured in an ex-bourbon barrel from America. Those are made of white oak, so they give you very pale colours and usually quite vanilla-y sweet flavours as well. Or if yours is a little bit deeper, darker, like this one here, then more kind of orangey and red, that suggests it's been matured in an ex-sherry barrel from Spain. And those are made of red European oak, so they give you much deeper colours and usually spicier flavours as well. And those are the 2 main types of cask that are used to mature Scotch whisky, ex-bourbon and ex-sherry. Some distilleries are kind of experimenting with other types, so things like rum, types of wine and port. So there are other possibilities, but tends to be sherry and bourbon. The next step then is to have a look at the legs of your whisky, at the body. We're just looking for the little lines that start to form down the side, kind of run down the side. Those are the legs of your whisky. The general rules are, if you see lots and lots of skinny legs like this one running all the way down the side, straight away, you've got a light-bodied whisky. You can see some on mine as well. Or if you don't see those legs forming for a while, or they're thicker, gloopier, slower, so I think this one here has got a little bit more body to it because the legs are slower to form. That suggests a full-bodied whisky. So really it's just about the viscosity. If it looks very fine and runny in texture, it's light. If it looks more syrupy and gloopy in texture, then it's full or heavy. But most whiskies will be somewhere in between. It's rare that you get one that's at either end of that extreme. The next step is to have a nose of your dram, so just stick your nose right in your glass and leave your mouth slightly open, and that will allow your airways to circulate a bit better. And this bit is completely subjective. You can't get nosing wrong because everybody's obviously working with a different memory bank of aromas, so everyone will interpret it quite differently. You can always add a drop of water as well if you want to kind of bring out more of the delicate, subtle aromas, or just leave it to the side for a couple of minutes. Just let it air a bit, and you'll get the softer aromas coming out a bit more easily as well. Then the next step is obviously to taste. Well done for waiting. I'll raise a toast in Scots Gaelic, which means good health, so Slandabar. And you are free to drink your whiskies now. The last step as you do that is called the finish. So just try and hold your whisky on your tongue for just a second and see what the flavours, textures do. You might get several different flavours as you drink your whisky. So that's the finish. So if you want a closer look at what you're drinking, that's on the table labelled for you with the region. And obviously it's your chance to have a look at the collection as well. So I'll give you a little bit of background info so you know what you're looking at. So this is the biggest collection of Scotch whisky in the world. There are 3,384 bottles in total, and they were all collected by this man here on the wall, Clive Vidas, who's from Sao Paulo in Brazil. He started collecting whiskey in the 1960s, when it was very rare to find single malt outside Europe. So back then in Brazil, obviously it was something worth hanging on to. And then he spent the next 30, 40 odd years collecting, and this is the result. Then in 2006, he decided to sell the whole lot to Diageo, who are an international drinks company that own lots of Scotland's distilleries. But unfortunately they won't tell us what they paid for it, so we don't have an exact figure. They just called it priceless, but I hope you can see why anyway. So yeah, feel free to have a look around and take any photos, obviously ask any questions and enjoy your whiskies. And don't forget your whiskey glasses. If you do want to keep them, you can do, and I'll give you a box next door to put them in, so don't lose those. But yeah, in the meantime, just feel free to have a wander around.
What I wanted was,
Yeah.
why is it necessary to use used casks?
For two reasons really, two main reasons. Firstly, if you use new oak, the flavours are much stronger, you get much more kind of wood sugar. And that's not the effect that Scotch whisky is trying to achieve. So bourbon whisky in America, they use new casks every time because they want that kind of very sweet effect. Scotch whisky, they also like to use pre-seasoned, as it's known, basically, is just what they call it. It's been used before. It's also got some of the liquid that it's previously held kind of locked in there. So the whiskey can then take a little bit of colour and even sometimes a little bit of flavour from whatever liquid is locked in there. So if you mature it in a port cask, the whiskies tend to be a little bit pinker, a little bit sweeter, because they've actually taken some colour and flavour from the port that's locked in there, as well as taking it from the wood itself. So they kind of like to use that just to get different effects.
Different flavours.
Yeah, different flavours, different colours, yeah.
It has to be oak wood all the time.
Yes, it has to be oak.
No other wood can be.
No, always oak.
What's the oldest whiskey you've got in here?
Oldest is just around the corner here. It's this little bottle in the middle there, one that says Scotch whisky with a little crest. And that was bottled in 1897. It's made by James Buchanan, who was one of the pioneers of blending back in the 1800s.
This is a blended.
It's a blended whiskey, yeah.
204 years old.
I think it's 114, if I've done my maths right, but I'm not sure.
You said
Yeah,
1897, yeah.
About how
That's
much
when
would
it was
it be
bought
worth?
on.
We don't know, we don't know.
It's worth a lot of money. That's all.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
So we can't have a taste of that.
No, I'm afraid. Could be, could be.
Because I saw 204 years old.
1897, 211,
2011.
so 215. 150 years, isn't it?
1897, 207.
No, it's 2011.
2000.